Yeah, I don't have a ton to talk about. My life is pretty boring. The only things I interact with on a regular basis are like convenience store people, which is not terribly exciting. I did have an incident last night. I think my state is finally deciding to open back up, which, in my opinion, is way too soon because it's not over and we don't have a vaccine. And we were hit pretty hard. Our state, well, a particular county that's right. So I live in a county, and then like 5 minutes from here is the other county. So I'm very close to the border. And that other county was hit very, very hard by coronavirus stuff. And it's too soon to be opening. So, like last night, I'm doing my route. Of course, I drive for a living and I deliver stuff to convenience stores and whatnot. Go in a convenience store, and well, actually, I was sitting in my car, and because I couldn't get my hand sanitizer out of my glove box, because it's a big spritz bottle and it was stuck in there, and so I was sitting there finagling with that thing, and I saw a guy go into the convenience store, and I was like, oh, he's not wearing a mask, and they have big signs that say you're required by the health department to wear a mask. So I was like, all right, that's weird. You know, it's not the first time I've seen that, but it is very annoying to me when I go in a place and people start walking right next to me without wearing a mask. Is very upsetting to me. So I was like, you know, it's not great. But I was like, whatever. So I'm fiddling with my hand sanitizer, and someone else gets out and goes in. They're not wearing a mask, and like it's 3 in the morning, but there were like 5 people who came and went in the store, all of which were not wearing a mask. And I was like, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something to, hello, little horde of people. What did that say? Downed. Why are you downed? They must have pushed him out of the way. That is a side effect we just mentioned, that they can push each other. Sometimes they will fall over top of each other as well. So he's been knocked down. Let's just help them with the door here. I don't think the Nord is... You'll see he pushed into the room, like we were talking about. And we're surrounded here, so we might get bit, but we're okay. It's the unmanageable pain that's concerning. Because it's now reduced our strength, which is like actually a big deal. So we might head back to the base for a little bit. I was just gonna loot, but this house actually had a fair number of enemies in it. Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to see through the door. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna say something to the cashier and be like, hey, you know, don't you still require? Because they have these big, like they put these signs on the doors that say, you're required to observe state health department regulations, which require you to stay 6 feet apart from each other and wear a mask. And not only that, but like even on the gas pumps, they have this animated thing that pops up on the display of the gas pumps that say, hey, when you're in the store, you're required to wear a mask. You're required to stay 6 feet apart from people, and feel free to wash your hands, but we can't provide hand sanitizer because of limited supply. So I was like, you know what? I come in here every night, literally every night I stop at this place and buy a tea, and they kind of know me and whatever. I was like, I'm going to say something to the cashier about, like, did they change the regulations? You know, are you allowed to, like, because they're supposed to, by health department regulation, they're supposed to ask people to leave if they don't wear their mask. So I went in, and you know, I got my tea and whatever, and went up to the register, and the cashier's not wearing a mask, and I have my mask on, and I said, you know, aren't you required to wear a face mask? And he's like, I mean, yeah, like technically, but you know, the state's going to be opening up soon, so I don't think we have to wear them. And I was like, well, you know, you have these big signs that say to wear a mask, and I'm an essential worker. We're required to wear masks at all times while working, even though we don't handle food or anything like that. It's not, you know, it's about protection. And he's like, yeah, we don't have to do that anymore. And I know he's lying, and like he had this little smirk. And I'll tell you, I've dealt with annoying people in my lifetime, and I've dealt with, when I was young especially, a lot of young men who get that little smirk, and you probably know what I'm talking about, where they're like, I'm lying to your face, and it's kind of funny to me. So I was just really annoyed. I don't know, maybe that just sounds like, you know, nothing, but I just, he was clearly like, it was unpleasant, is basically. I shouldn't have told that story. I don't know. It just annoyed me, you know, because I take things pretty seriously, you know. I use hand sanitizer anytime I enter or leave one of those stores. I, you know, wear my face covering at all times. I stay away from people because that's the right thing to do. And then to see, you know, that these people are not wearing what they're supposed to be wearing and things. Where's my unsorted pile? Unsorted, up here. So we'll drop all this stuff. We did pick up some food, at least, that we can carry around. That's not an issue with the cans and things. You could just drop really all this stuff. We do want to address our pain as well. I see these are not favorited. Let's hang on to the hammer and screwdriver. Let's drop the cash card because I'm not sure what's going on with their size. And I'm curious, what kind of guns do we have access to? We have the 1911 and the Kel-Tec P32, which is 32. Okay, that makes sense. We don't have any of the ammunition we require for those guns. 1911 is 45, I think. Yes. So no guns, which is fine. We're still in a relatively unexplored area, so I would be hesitant to start popping off with a gun in an area we haven't really cleared. We didn't do anything for our pain. Let's eat a bunch of aspirin. And I see we're quite damaged as well, and we have a bite. We should address the bite before we leave, which is not, you know, super big deal. People get in their heads, new players especially. They're used to playing games like, you know, Project Zomboid, where a bite is the end of your character, basically. And of course, it's not actually like that in Cataclysm. Where's my medical? Here we go. Hydrogen peroxide will do. So we'll just apply hydrogen peroxide and take care of our bite wound. Your wound still aches. Yeah, but is it still bit? It is still bit. You have a nasty bite wound. Let's take a look at this hydrogen peroxide. Now, in real life, hydrogen peroxide is not a very good disinfectant. It's a very weak disinfectant. Wow, okay, so 95% chance to heal the bite wound. So we just rolled poorly there. So we'll apply some more hydrogen peroxide, which did, in fact, clean the wound. So we don't have to worry about that. You know, we are quite injured. Maybe we should just stay inside here. Our focus is 15. Jeez. I don't remember when we slept or if we slept in the last time we played. So grinding our skills is just not feasible at 15 focus. Okay, so let's just loot the building a bit, because we don't want to get into combat. How much of this building did I loot? These doors are all broken, so probably this floor. Doors are all broken, so head down. Doors are all broken. Yes. So head down. Looks like we may have cleared the entirety of this building. No, there are a couple closed doors here. Okay. So we'll just do some looting, kill some time here. What does this go to? Oh, it's an elevator. That's right. It doesn't work. Most of the elevators you'll come across in Cataclysm don't really work. That is something that's changing, I think. I forget what I was reading. I just did an episode of Experimental Cataclysm yesterday, and one of the PRs involved someone adding a lift to the game, but I don't remember what it was. So we'll just loot a bit. Some lentils. Not a big fan of lentils. And we'll take the seasoning as well, I guess. I don't know, it just annoys me, you know, when I go places that are like, hey, did it still pick up everything else? Oh, where did it go? It said I couldn't pick something up, but it's not there anymore. Oh, maybe, can I pick up? Yeah, so it canceled everything. Shouldn't have canceled everything. It only should cancel what I didn't choose to pick up there. Cardboard. Can't take the cans. Mushy lemon. PB&J will take coffee syrup. It's just an annoyance. I imagine a lot of people feel that way. You know, you go to the grocery store, and you see people, there are big signs that say stay 6 feet away from people, and then you get in an aisle, and what does everyone do? Well, oh, I'm just passing you, so it's okay for me to walk right next to you, because it's only going to be for a second. It's like, yeah, but don't step up on me. The other day, same store, I went to get my tea, and it was, again, it's like 3 in the morning, and a bunch of teenagers rolled up with their music booming and all that, garbage that you always see with you whippersnappers, always the same. And they get out and they come in, and it's a guy and like 2 girls, and one girl's wearing like a face covering, but the other 2 are not. And I'm standing there, I go down, I get my tea, and on my way back down to the register, they walk right up. It's a very narrow aisle, like literally just enough for one person, because they usually are stocking when I get in there, so there's usually like totes of stuff, so there's only enough room for one person. And they both just like, you had to do that awkward thing where you turn your body and you kind of scoot by each other, and I'm like, I'm a little bit of an aggressive guy. I work really hard at not being aggressive, but as they walk past me, they're not wearing masks, and they're like right up on me, and I was like, 6 feet. And he looked at me, and I was like, I put on a fucking mask, and I just was like, so irritated. I get so frustrated, internet. It's like, I don't know if it's because I was an abused kid, or because I'm what was a bad guy and I've changed now. I don't know, but when I see people who are like incapable of showing respect, it just annoys me immensely. It's one of the reasons I get so frustrated. I can't even... Oh, I just don't have space. Okay, I thought it was saying that it was going to spill the contents, but it's a box, so it shouldn't have. Like, it's one of the things that really gets me about my brother is, like, I just feel like he doesn't respect the family. I feel like the things he chooses to do are disrespectful, and it just gets under my skin, Maybe it's... I mean, it could be anything, being incarcerated, all that kind of stuff is like... Everything is based around respect, and if you don't show people respect, that's a huge problem. Like, that's the one thing. Why did I have like 6 so awesome monthlies? Look at this. Did I pick up? There's no way. I picked up like 9 of those books. Did it duplicate a bunch of stuff? 10 so awesome monthlies. Did I pick up 10 of these books? That doesn't seem likely. Also, where did my disinfectant go? I made a point not to drop it. Look for... Is it the hydrogen peroxide? No. Disinfectant? No, antiseptic. It was renamed antiseptic. Yeah, it's just not here anymore. Or no, I spelled it wrong again. Thank you for the follow or whatever. How do you spell antiseptic? Antiseptic. Okay. Thank you for the follow or whatnot. Again, I don't have the notifications popping up at the moment. I apologize. I know people like hearing their name read out loud. It's certainly one of the appeals of following and whatnot. So we're just going to continue looting here since we're in so much pain. In fact, we are on painkillers. Doesn't say how much. Analgesic substances. So we'll eat some more. Try and bring that pain down. Oh, I ate some lentils by accident. So it is keeping the consume menu open now. Because previously it was closing it, but now it is keeping the menu open between consumes. The problem is it resets, so if I select aspirin, it resets to the top of the order. Same thing if I searched for aspirin and selected it, it would remove me back to the main menu. So definitely still needs a little bit of love there to sort some of that out. Hopefully we don't OD on aspirin. We had a discussion about that on Discord a few weeks ago, and another simulacrum basically said that the amount you would need to consume would be a significant portion of your own body weight. So seems unlikely we're going to OD on aspirin. Yeah, respect is huge. Like, if you're a young person which according to YouTube, I have no viewership under the age of like 18 or whatever. But you can't believe those numbers. Those numbers are liars. If you're a young person, one of the things I just gotta say, if you can't, respect is one of the most important things. If people don't respect you, and if you don't respect people, that will always lead to conflict. And that's how I feel about my brother. You know, he's so I'm 32. My brother would be 30. Yes, he's 30 now. And it's just one of those things. It's like, how can you get to be 30 and still, you know, he'll come home from work and it'll be like 2 in the morning, and you know, I can't hear anything. I'm in the back of the house with my headphones on and a fan and AC and all that stuff. But like, I walk out of my room and it's just a wall of noise. He's blasting his like rap music that is just so profane at like 3 in the morning, and I have family members who are sleeping and they have to get up at, you know, friggin' 5 in the morning, and there he is blasting his music because to him it's just, oh, I got home from work, I want to do what I want to do, you know, no matter how that affects other people. So it's a huge point of frustration with me. And of course my brother has some mental limitations, so it's like, you know, how much does he understand? How much of it is his mental, you know, his limits and things? And I use that terminology, mental limitations, just because, you know, growing up and him having therapists and things, they would use the R word, which is a really ugly word for people with some mental health stuff going on or special need things, and that's always been a huge turnoff for me. So I don't say that. I hate that word. And we just sort of settled on limitations because it's like he can do a lot of things. It's not like it prevents. It's not. I don't like the word handicap. You know, it implies that they're, you know, a lack of capability or whatnot. And it's more like they have some limitations on what they can do, but it doesn't change that they're still people and all that stuff. It's much more humanizing than some of the other language that gets thrown around. 35 is young. I'm feeling younger. Okay. I guess I'm still young. I'm 32. I feel like I don't feel young. Gotta be honest. I feel ornery and old. I feel like I don't know. Probably just life in general has jaded me pretty hard. You know, life experience tends to be not, I don't know, not so great for me. So did we like pick up another 10 of an item? No. We must have just picked up 10 by mistake without paying attention to what we were doing. I don't know. You're as young as I feel. In my head, I'm like 25. Yeah, that's the funny thing is like, if you ask me like where I, like in my head, I'm about 20 still. Like despite being, that being over a decade ago, I think I'm like emotionally stunted on the inside, you know? But in my head, I'm like 20. My body feels like it's a 30 something. And then when I look in the mirror, I'm like, you don't look 20. You know, I don't know what age I look. Probably about my age. When I was a teenager, when I was like 16, I looked like I was 25. Like I was one of the, like I hit puberty so early in my life and got the full facial hair and everything. So like I remember being in like 4th grade and having leg hair and being afraid, like kids making fun of me for it. And then I remember being in like 5th grade and having a full goatee. And I was like 6th grade, I had a full goatee. I was one of 2 boys in our grade who had facial hair at the time. He had a full beard, which was very neat. Mine was definitely just a goatee, which does not look great. Did not look great. Looked like I had, well, I'm not going to comment. It didn't look good, is the point. I was young. What are you going to do? When you're young, you think like, oh man, any facial hair makes me cool or something, or it makes you look grown up or something. I don't know. And I had a really deep voice as well. Like I said, I hit puberty when I was like 9. And I remember I had, I think, bronchitis when I was like 9, and basically while I had bronchitis, I hit puberty. So like my voice got really raspy because of the bronchitis, and then I stopped having bronchitis, and my voice had dropped. So I never really grew out of the deep voice, gravelly voice. My whole life has been like this. Could buy beer by 16. Ah, oh, yeah. I mean, I maybe purchased some cigarettes before I was of the legal age. I didn't actually drink until I was 21. I had at the time I had a girlfriend. Our birthdays were one day apart, and so we were both going to hit 21 at the same time. And I think she had had drinks before, but like it was a nice thing, you know. She turned 21. Her parents took her to wine tasting because they were cool parents, I guess, is what that would be. And yeah, we, you know, my birthday was the day before. She went out wine tasting, and then we got together and bought a bunch of alcohol because we had no idea what normal people drink. So like I remember buying rum, and it was like spiced rum, which I don't know anyone who drinks spiced rum on its own. Is not the best drink that I wouldn't recommend for right away. Plus it's rum, not exactly what I would recommend for people with a low alcohol tolerance. That was legal back in my day. Yeah, my uncle, it's funny because he used to complain about it a lot. He's not that much older than me. I think he was like 12 when I was born or something like that. It used to be, I think, 18 when you could drink. Was it 18? But the year he got to be the age where he could legally drink, they upped it to 21. And I remember he used to gripe about that. So he's pretty young. In fact, that's the uncle we discussed a few, I don't know, at some point on the channel I mentioned my uncle recently had a heart attack. Despite being very young, he had triple bypass. He's like 12 or 13 years older than me. Man, I don't remember. My mom was 15 when she got pregnant with me. And I think I was born, she was 16. And I think he's 3 years younger than her, give or take. So he's quite young. Especially to be dealing with triple bypass. I mean, I was very worried about him. Always looked older when I was young and thought it was cool until I was older. And then this sucks. Yeah, that's exactly how it goes. You're 16 and you're like, oh man, I can't wait to have a deep voice and get some mustache or something. And then you're like 25 and you're like, man, you know what? I'm starting to regret looking older all the time. Cool or stupid, I say as a parent of a 15-year-old kid. Well, I don't know. I don't have any offspring. I have not been blessed and or cursed with children, depending on your take. So I don't really know. I think that's one of those things that does change as you get older, because like, I mean, how much stuff did you do when you were a teenager that you would hate to hear about your child doing? Is something that always threw me, is like how parents, like how many people do I know that were like, oh yeah, I used to smoke weed all the time when I was a kid, and then they have kids and they're like, never smoke weed, it will ruin your life. I think that's an interesting thing that changes. I don't know. Why am I carrying scissors? What is the appeal of these scissors? A long pair of heavy-duty scissors. One cutting quality. Probably we just didn't have a knife. We picked up a knife somewhere. Folding knife. Small folding knife, locking blade, pocket clip. Not as good a weapon as a solid fixed blade knife, but better than a pen knife. Yes, we'll take this knife. And we'll dump the scissors. I don't like the idea of carrying scissors. Who even uses scissors? Get a pocket knife. Get a pocket knife like an adult. I carry a knife for work, so it's like I always have a knife on me. I'm totally understand if you're scissors people. I don't want to alienate the scissor lobbyists. So I don't see, man, it's a lot of the same books. The apartment building is one of my favorite starting locations, and it's one that I recommend for new players a lot. Well, intermediate players, I would say, not suitable for someone's like third playthrough or whatever. But I really like the apartment rooftop start. And the apartment building itself is very good because it contains leather clothing and lots of storage clothing. So like the cargo pants we have, you'll find hoodies, which are great for storage. You'll find literal backpacks. So a lot of that kind of gear. Tons of food, although we're running into the issue with the canned food being basically useless at this point, because it's all going to rot in the next couple of days. You find furniture, so we already have a place to sleep. If we need a place to sleep, there's ovens, so we don't need to worry about fire containment. Tons of food, clothing, storage items, lots of books, and it just seems like we're repeating kind of the same books over and over. Under the Hood's very good. I don't know if I already have one or not. It seems to be a lot of cookbooks, is what I was going to say. I don't really care about cookbooks. If anybody had told you life sucks as an adult, what would childhood be like? I mean, my childhood was unbearable. I don't know about when I was a kid. I feel like when I was a kid, I had hope, and that's something I lost as a teenager. Was like when I was a kid and I was being abused, it felt like it was going on forever. But in your head, you're like, okay, one day I'll have my own house. One day I won't have to live with these people, etc. Then as a teenager, I became much more jaded. Like, I thought things would be better by now. Life is still very hard. I'm not very happy, etc. And now as an adult, I actually have hope again because like I'm properly medicated and all that stuff. I don't know. Hope is a weird thing. I never know what to talk about with. It's whenever I talk about my childhood, it's always horrible stories. Like we had, I think it was our Apartment Rat series. I had just seen my stepfather, who had been my childhood abuser, and that shook me up real bad. And at that time, I was also struggling. I couldn't get my medication, which was like a real jarring experience that was unpleasant. So like anytime I talk about my life, personal life, it's always complainy stuff. It's always like, oh God, this is terrible. Why are things so terrible? And I always feel bad because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like you shouldn't complain on the internet. I do a lot, but I feel like it's also like the number one thing I get comments about. People will say, hey, have you considered shutting up and playing into the game? And it's like, not really. I it is what it is. You don't like it, don't let the door hit you. I don't know why these aren't in containers. Lentils. I guess we can drop lentils. Are they going to get dirty? Lentil? No, they seem fine. What about tofu? Tofu would definitely get dirty if you dropped it on the floor. Why are you not in a soy protein crucial to East Asian cuisine? Absorbs flavor very well. Can be used as a meat alternative. I've not really had tofu on its own, I don't think. It's always been in stuff, but I've heard good things. I keep meaning to make dango with my niece, but I have to go out and buy tofu basically. Dango or I don't know, is there an emote on Twitch for dango? There is on Discord. They're those little colored doughy type balls that you see. They get cooked on a stick, and they're often red. They're pink, white, and green. What, it doesn't matter. Anyway, meant to make dango with my niece because I thought it would be a fun thing to do, and because you can kind of shape them and color them how you want. But I haven't been out to buy tofu because I don't buy tofu. So, but anyway, and I don't know if she has any food allergies, and soy is a very common food allergy. So I'd hate to kill my niece. That would be one of those things you don't ever live down. So 0.09 liters of tofu. I'm going to drop this. I don't know if it's going to get dirty. Should I just eat it? Can I just drop it? Tofu? It's not dirty. It's weird. It's weird that it's not dirty. But okay, it's also weird it's not in a container. Strange apartment. The Apartment Rat was the best. Yeah, I get probably more comments for that series than any other series. I think the first prison series is probably the most viewed thing on my channel, but Apartment Rat probably has the most comments and things. I like that kind of commentary. I like just talking about my life, you know. I think that series, literally episode 1, my therapists I had issues getting in contact with my therapist, so I was out of my medication, and that's like one of the worst experiences I've had in the last couple of years. I was down to like a quarter of a pill at one point, if not completely out by the end. And just the simple fact that they were unwilling to work with me was so upsetting that I wasn't processing it, and it put me really, really depressed. Yeah, I put a lot of stock in my medication. My therapists, they're always telling me, look, yes, you're properly medicated. Yes, it has helped you a lot, but you're making changes. That's why you're doing better, is because of all the work that you're doing on yourself. But to me, it's like, well, no, I just got the right pills and now I'm okay. And they constantly shut me down when I talk like that, because they want, they want me to believe that I'm, working on myself and improving as a human being, rather than some magic pill, fixed you, essentially. We ate and we got hungry. I don't understand that. I drank soy milk, which has a lot of calories, and it made us hungry. Okay. We eat the tofu, I guess. Why not? Oh. Why, 130 calories? It's tofu. I thought tofu is calorie dense. Or, I mean, it's nutrient dense, I guess. Is there not that many calories in tofu? Food looks fine. If you were more skilled in cooking or survival, you might be able to make a better estimation? What is that about? I don't know what that means. I don't think I've ever seen that line of text before. Or else I didn't pay attention to it. What time is it? 6:04. So I told myself that if I streamed... Go eat the tofu, dummy. If I streamed, I would take a break every hour. So usually when I record on YouTube, basically what happens is I record these 30-minute episodes. Generally between every single episode, I'll get up, stretch my legs. Sometimes I'll hop on the exercise bike, or I'll pick up my dumbbell or whatever. And then like every hour or two, I'll smoke a cigarette, or, go pet the dogs or whatever. So we've been streaming for about an hour. So I'm going to step out to use the restroom, smoke a cigarette, etc. So hopefully this pulls up the overlay. And fingers crossed that this doesn't reveal any person. Oh, good, it popped up. Okay. So let's go over follows really quick. We got JC Black 47. Gotta assume that is his child that he was talking about. The Evil Twin has followed, and the Mad Irishman 123 has followed. So thank you all for the follows. I believe that puts us up to 23-ish people, something like that. So I'm going to step away here for a few minutes, smoke a cigarette, have a drink, etc. And I will be back shortly, and we'll continue streaming, I think, Cataclysm for a little while at least, and we'll go from there. Oh, 2 viewers in chat. Oh, I shouldn't have looked at that number. Thank you, 2, for being here, and I will be back momentarily. So let me pull up the BOB and hit the old mute button.